Guys, there were PhD graduates that went in front of the Ministry of Higher Education, and they went to strike because they didn't have jobs. Some even threatened to commit suicide because the government didn't recruit them after education. So my question is that, are you telling me that after all the stuff that you studied during school, everything that you learned from the complexities, mechanics, engineering, geography, you can name a lot, and you cannot identify any of them that you can use to solve a problem for somebody? Now, in those days, you see, our parents used to produce detergent from home. They'll produce detergent, local detergents from, like, we call it Omo here. And you have a graduate who has done a master's in chemistry or a PhD in chemistry, cannot even continue in that same line, cannot continue what our parents can. You cannot even produce something which is better. Now, we used to see corn beer, like drinks like corn beer and all those things that were produced by our parents back in those days. But today, graduates finish, they do a master's in food processing, and they cannot even produce a single product for the market. This is extremely ironical. Now, this is my approach. I say that if the government can make education extremely cheap, and you finish, and you cannot use your education to identify a problem that you can solve for someone to make money, then that education was basically useless. We understand that this country has a problem, but we're not going to sit down and keep looking at the challenges. What do we do in the midst of challenges? The moment you tell yourself that something is not possible, the moment you keep blaming the government, then you shut down your mental mechanism. You can't think. But if you ask yourself, how can I do this? How can I succeed in this thing? Then you open your mental mechanism for opportunities. You open your mental mechanism for thinking. Sometimes you want to choose a research topic, like you want a topic that will create significant impact to the industry, but you get stuck in the middle. On one side, you want to do something that is scientifically novel because the academic community is putting you pressure that you must do something that is novel, you must do something that has not been done before. On the other hand, you want to do something that is practical, but you realize that all the topics that can lead to something practical, right, they have already been done. That means someone has already done something in that project area. So you get confused. You get confused whether should I follow something which is practical but has no scientific novelty, or I should stick to something which has a strong scientific novelty but it's not very practical. So today I'm going to share with you a simple secret. I call it the quadrant formula, which is going to help you take away this ambiguity or confusion that you might have when choosing a research topic. First of all, there are 4 key categories. I don't know if you knew this. There are 4 key categories of choosing a research project that a research project can fall under. First, we have a new way of solving a new problem. This is the top kind of category. A new way, that means the problem is new and you're coming up with a new approach to solve this new problem. Now, most of the times, because the problem is new, industry and society, they are not aware of these problems. We are talking of things that are abstract. They are not, it's not conventional to them. So most of the times, if you provide a solution in this area, that's a new way, a new solution to solve a new problem, nobody will need it because people don't face the problem or they're not aware of the problem. Now, the second category is a new way of solving an old problem. By old problem, I mean a problem that everyone is facing, a problem that we get up in the morning that industries face. So they are either currently looking for a solution or they are using a solution which is less efficient. So when you come with a new way of solving this existing problem, most of the times it pushes very easily into the market. Industries run for it because this is a problem that they have been facing, and you've now come up with a new and efficient way of solving this problem. Now guys, the third quadrant now that I want to share with you actually is an old way of solving a new problem. Now, when you look at an old way, that means the approach that you're using is old. Other researchers have used it before, but the problem that you're looking at is actually new. So there's an element of novelty in it because you're looking at a new problem. Again, the problem here is that industry or society are not aware of this problem because it's still a new problem. You want to focus on problems that people are purely aware of. Okay, so that's what this third quadrant is still not good. Now, the last quadrant that I'm going to talk about is an old way of solving an old problem. This is the reason why a lot of you get rejected when you send your papers for scientific publications. One, you solved an old problem and you used an old approach to solve an old problem. What's new in this? There's nothing new in this work. That's why you face rejection from academic journals, you face rejection from reviewers. So now, which quadrant should you choose if you want to do a research project that will be applied in the industry? Focus on quadrant 2. That is, using a new way to solve an old problem. The novelty here is not in the problem. The novelty here lies in the approach. You are bringing in a new approach to solve an existing problem. One more thing. The very interesting thing about the second quadrant is that not only does it have a strong industrial impact, but also it has significant elements of novelty. So imagine doing a thesis project or a research project that simultaneously meets academic requirements and on the other hand has significant industry or business impact. The scientific method of entrepreneurship. Guys, this topic really interests me. I'm going to share with you something very interesting. Like what I've noticed about the companies that succeed. It's not like it's the only way that for you to build a successful company, but there's something that I've noticed among the companies that succeed. You get it? And the companies that fail, I try to notice what they didn't do right. Guy, you've gone to school, you are an educated person. If you want to do business, don't do business like somebody that is not educated. Leverage your skills. So the scientific method of entrepreneurship says that conventionally, when we want to start a company, what do? You try to raise funding. When you raise funding, what do? You try to put up a team, and then when you put up a team, you are working on a product. You are trying to produce a product. Sometimes you rent a building, you put up a website, you have a team, and you start calling yourself founder. I'm a founder and I'm a CEO. Now, when you take like maybe 6 months to 1 year, it depends on the product that you're trying to build. You build a product, and then after that, you start doing marketing. Now, when you start doing marketing, and then hoping that you make sales, what do you do? That means you go from product to market and then to sales. You realize that nobody needs your product. Imagine the time that you've invested, imagine the resources that you've paid on salaries, only to realize that nobody needs your product. Now, on the other hand, that's what I call the scientific method of entrepreneurship. It means that everything from the start is a hypothesis. Nothing is clear. Nothing is sure. You get the whole point. All those things that you put in your business plan from the start, they are all mere hypotheses because you haven't come into contact with the real customer who needs your result. Now, what do? You instead start from the market. Instead of starting from the product, you go from the sales, the market, you go from the market, you make sales, and then you go to produce your product. That means you actually sell before you produce, compared to producing before you sell. Why would I like to sell before I produce? Because I'm sure that somebody needs the product. And when I sell before I produce, then I'm able to get money, which I can use now to build my product. Now, when I teach this topic, a lot of my students ask me, a lot of businesses and entrepreneurs that I work with ask me that, how can you sell something before you produce? It's pretty simple, guys. It's pretty simple. The secret is how you identify a problem that someone needs it. Let me ask you a question. Let's assume that you have cancer and someone walks up to you and say, I have a solution that can take you out of that cancer state. You get it? And then the person demonstrates to you on paper that this is how I can help you solve the problem. Guy, if that problem is a pain to you, then you even want to give advance payment. You even want to work with the person to help bring the solution. So you see that your clients become now your employees. You get the whole point. So the scientific method of entrepreneurship says that we must come out what we call hypothesis. That means instead of wasting time organizing business meeting with your team and all those things, there's nothing. The combined intelligence of your team, your engineers, it cannot beat real-time facts that comes from clients that face the problem. So instead of wasting time holding meetings here and there with your team, go out of the building. Talk to real-time clients, talk to businesses, industries, ask them the problems that they are facing as well as the type of solution that they need. Because remember, people don't buy what they need, but they buy what they want. So what I mean by asking them what they need, you must know what they want. That means what is it that they will expect in terms of a solution. So my name is Fabrice Abunde, and I help masters and PhDs do a research project that leads to real-time startups or industry solutions.